At 7:01 on June 20th, all council members are present with the exception of Councilmember Rivero. And we have two amazing presentations tonight. And I'm guessing that's why you're all here, right? Because we don't have a new gas station going up or a hotel or anything, right? Unless... Now, the town attorney and the town manager look at me like maybe, I don't know. But we have two amazing presentations. So we're going to do our Citizens Police Academy for, is this spring of 2023? Great. And then we are going, I'll get back to that. I just realized it. So sorry, Todd's feuding my cue cards here that I forgot the Pledge of Allegiance. But and then we're also going to recognize our outgoing youth commission tonight for their inaugural service in setting up this board. So, but if you will, please rise with me and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, so let's have Bree. Commander, how do you want to do this? You want to call everybody down? All right. You want to call everybody down? All right. So if you are a new graduate of the Parker Citizens Academy, would you please join us down here in the middle?
Yeah, there's like 50 of them. I went for.
Yeah, they're all gonna,
They're all gonna what?
after we're done.
They're all gonna leave. Okay, that makes me feel I'm stressing. Oh, they're tall. I'm gonna have to stand on a chair if we're taking pictures. I can't see. I'll stand in between the gaps. You can stand in the gaps too.
Pull my shoulders.
Oh yeah, piggyback.
Something like that sounds about right. 40-ish.
So we ended up this year's Citizens Academy with 40 people, and this is a group, and I think that they meet for, is it 9 weeks, 16 weeks? 15. Felt like 16, right? But they get to go through every aspect of our police department. They get to go everything from the CSI group, which was, I heard, very cool this year, recreating your own crime scene and trying to solve it. And so that's what my daughter who went through Teen Academy still talks about to this day, was the recreation. But I think you guys also got to go out on the track, right? Spit out in some cars, and that was amazing. And my daughter will still tell you she had a concussion. I'm like, nah, you got it. But one of the things that I'd like to, and I'll turn it over to Commander Peters too, to make a few words. But here's one of the things that I believe about the Citizens Academy for the Parker Police is, number one, you're now a alumni of this, so you get to join the Citizens Offering Parker Police Support the Cops, and I'm sure they have all come and got in this group. But it is an amazing group of people that are still volunteering, still doing amazing things in the town of Parker. But now that you know the secrets, the ins and outs, everything that happens, you know how cool the heroes of our town really are. And it's not just what you read on social media. You have a responsibility now. You have the responsibility to be the ambassador of the police department. So when you see those things come out, and as crime goes on, and as people strip things on social media, it's your responsibility now to say, I've been through police academy, I know the truth, and here's what it is. I know the professional standards of this. I know the men and women that serve are this high caliber of people. And I'm sure the chief told you in recruiting, we get a lot of applicants, but you've got to be the best of the best to get into the Parker Police Department. And in the last 2 years, I think we've sworn in, 12? Are we up to 12 now?
I worked for 12, and then we have a few more.
Yeah, and we got some more coming. So, you're also the welcome wagon for the new guys. And for those of you, I love to see the young people here because they all seem about your age, but for those of you that are more my age, they all look like they're 15. So, but they're really close, and I make that joke every time because they literally are. So, Commander Peters, Chief, you want to make any comments?
Sure. Just real quick, I'm super proud of this town, and I'm super proud of the police department. So being able to kind of have a program where we get to brag about the police department, let you see why we're so proud of it, That's awesome to me. I love doing it. Bree does a ton of work. Hi, Bree, back there. Hi. It's the best part of my job is the Citizens Academy. So thank you very much. I know I've said that to you already, but thank you. You're awesome.
Thank you. And I just want to say congratulations again. I know we had a lot of talks throughout the academy. It's been a great time. And thank you for your support. Thank you for your participation. And hopefully you got to see some inner workings of the police department. Hopefully you enjoyed it. And like the mayor said, now you guys are ambassadors out there. So thank you. And come on back and do another ride along if you like. Join another Citizens Academy and go through it again.
And they did tell you now you can make citizens arrest, right? I've been trying. I'm like, seriously, that doesn't get me something. All right, so the council's going to stand up behind us, and we're going to get our class picture of the trains. Use my way in.
I'm just getting in between the tall ones.
This is gonna be a tough one.
I know. You good? Can you see? All right.
Love it.
Pretty good job there.
Everyone say donut.
You here. All right, one last one. Big smile.
Let's hear it for this.
Even on heels, man. Here we go. There's still a lot of
All right, so we're not done with our special presentations of the night, so I know I was in Landon.
Where is Landon?
So Braden Parsons, are you here? Oh. You're usually like right down here on the spot. And then where's Joey Lungs?
I know, sure is.
Come on down. All right. So, and where is Sherry Sullivan, our coordinator extraordinaire? So hey Sherry, we formed the youth commission 6 months ago? September. So that wasn't my special. You're the wizard. What, 9 months ago? 9 months ago. So the Parker Town Council started the youth commission 9 months ago. This is the first time in Parker's history that we've had a youth commission. And we said, we need to hear from the young people because, with the exception of Randy, no offense to Randy, but, we need to hear from the younger people of our community. So we set forth a ordinance. We brought them in as an actual youth commission, same way as we have our Parks and Recreation Commission, same way as we have our Planning Commission, which I see members here tonight. They are advisors to the council on all things youth, all things young people, and I haven't gotten any music recommendations from you yet, but I'm sure that's coming. But these two are two of our founding members, Iris Pixler and Landon Schnell are not here, but these guys are graduating and headed off to college. Where are you going? United States Merchant Marine Academy. Merchant Marine Academy. That's awesome. Joe, where are you this week? University of Florida. Awesome. So, these are amazing young people in our community. And as they go out, and as they leave the commission after 9 months, you'll have the shortest term on there, but that's okay. You did a lot in that 9 months. But what we always admonish them to is that, you're going to go out, you're going to get your education, but don't forget Parker. Come back and continue to make us that hometown that you grew up in and you love, and that we can benefit from your all experience. So we're going to give you that. Joey, there's yours. In appreciation, I'm going to read off of yours, Brandon, sorry. For your service as an inaugural member of the Town of Parker's Youth Commission. So thank you all for your service. We appreciate you very much.
Easy.
Wait, so the new chairperson of the commission's here tomorrow. You want to come down here and get in a picture with us?
Sure, I'd love
As a new leader of the pack here? I was in between you,
All right, this one is a little easier to get everyone in here. Take a couple more. All right.
Lost my agenda. Thank you. All right, next up is public comment. Public comment is an opportunity for town residents and other interested individuals to speak about items not on the agenda. Public comment is held for the first 30 minutes of the session, and if we need any more time, we will conduct that at the end of the night. Public comment is for items not on the agenda, so if you see something on the agenda that's for a future public hearing, we ask that you save your comments on that item until the public hearing or until the ordinance. So I do have one item on the agenda, and that is Christopher Adams. Yep, if you come on down, we will get your name and address for the record, and we will start the 3-minute clock that's above me and back there.
All right, good evening. My name's Christopher Adams, 12581 Prince Creek Drive. My questions to the council are, why is the town endorsing automatic license plate readers? I sent all of you an email on 5:30 and no one's responded to me on my questions about that. Hasn't even been sent to the city attorney to respond. Asking why there is a push to track up residents. This system does seem to be a violation of the Fourth Amendment because it is a private system. It seems the HOAs are wanting to do it. However, the Parker Police is the end user ultimately, so that is an issue for privacy rights because you do have privacy rights when you're in your neighborhood. Is this going to be a discussion at a further point? What kind of ordinances allow these systems to be put on city streets because the HOAs don't own the streets? The town does, so how is this all working? Is there a reason that we're having a push for this? I've been told there's numerous increase in the crime in Parker, but everything I look at through the Parker Police or the Douglas County Sheriff shows there's minimal crime in Parker in this part of Douglas County, in part why I moved here and why we all live here. But many of the HOAs in the system itself is saying that it's going to help decrease crime, but if it automatically flags something and sends it to the police, that is a bit of a violation if the police themselves aren't sitting there. So just wondering what we're going to do about that, if there's an ordinance that allows for it, or if there's something that's going to protect our rights that the council can do to kind of govern the police department.
Great. Thanks,
Thank you.
Mr. Adams. So if your letter came in at 5:30, we were in executive session, so I just haven't got to a response, but I'll direct your letter to the appropriate departments.
Okay, perfect. Appreciate that.
Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, and correction, I sent it on May 30th, not at 5:30.
Oh, 5:30. Okay.
The email was sent on 5:30.
Okay, perfect. I'll go grab that then. All right. Anyone else in the public wishing to make public comments? Mr. O'Connor, come on down. You'll state your name and address for the record.
Get my stuff together here. Good evening, Mayor. Good evening, Council. My name is RJ O'Connor. I live on East Oak Creek Place in Stroh Ranch. Wanted to start my comments tonight, express my appreciation for everybody who had a hand in Parker Days. Parker Days is usually a great family event. Despite Mother Nature's best efforts, it's either 300 degrees and dirty outside, or it's raining, hailing, and people are being chased by lightning. Regardless, thank you. I know that's a chamber thing and you guys don't have a whole lot in it, but you know, it is a great event. It's a lot of fun. Been hauling my kids there for years, and just glad that all the COVID crap is over. We could just go back to having a good time in the middle of June again. The other issue I wanted to talk about is on the subject of families, is the growth in our town continues at a pretty unprecedented event. Businesses are opening, homes are being built, and that hometown feel we have here it's getting stretched a bit. I had the honor to meet with Chief Sharapis this morning. I always mess up his last name. Chief Jim, sorry. And after the meeting and the discussions, I really hope the people of Parker know and truly understand what an amazing police department we really do have. I've lived in several states my life and had a lot of interactions with law enforcement with my career, not with, the patriotic lights flashing in my rearview mirror. And I don't think it's said enough that Parker Police Department is some of the finest people that we have, not only in this town, but of a multitude of police departments. And I think the entire department deserves our appreciation and our gratitude for the job they do to keep our town safe, despite all of this growth. I moved here, there's 22,000 people. Now I think there's just 22,000 people south of Hess. And I encourage people that if you're having a bad day and you see an officer, take a moment to say thank you. That may just be the thing that makes their day. And I bring this up because in the discussions this morning with our police department, I was reminded of comments that a non-elected representative of our town said about Parker needing more multifamily housing. I got information from the cops this morning on what multifamily housing is doing in Parker, and I hope that this council and planning and everybody associated with this is prepared to beef up the blue with a little more green if multifamily is the way we're going to continue to go. And that's what I've got. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else from the public wish to make public comment? Me.
Hi, Ron Meyer, reside at 12888 Ironstone Way,
Gotcha.
also in Stroh Ranch. Just a couple things. Number one, I am totally in favor of the cameras for license plates. Ironstone's putting in two. I think it's necessary. There's been a lot of crime increased in Stroh Ranch area. Catalytic converters, car thefts, break-ins. So it's a necessary evil. I have some concerns myself about the privacy, but I think the results and what it does countermands that. I'm just a little concerned about the police budget. I've never seen a projection that says if you have this many units, housing units in the town, and you're projected to get some more year over year, what that plan would be for budgeting for them and personnel. I think that's something we'd be interested in giving to our members of our HOA. And I also echo RJ's comments. We have a fine police department.
Excellent. Thanks, sir. Anyone else from the public wishing to make public comment? All right, seeing none, we will move on to reports, items, and comments from mayor and council. I'll start to my far right, Councilmember Barrington.
Thank you, Mayor. So last Thursday, I met with council members Wilkes and Hefta and staff and Parker Water to start some water conservation talks. And yesterday, I was lucky enough to get very sunburned at the DBA golf tournament. Thanks.
Councilmember Hendricks.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I attended a grand opening of a fiction brewery and also attended and attempted to play golf at the DBA tournament, and I did not hit anyone, thankfully. Thank you.
Councilmember Dyak.
That's because you only hit shots in the fairway, not off the tee. Otherwise, it would have been a different story, I think. Let's see here. On the 7th, Dr. Cog work session, we're talking a little bit about economic development and the regional housing strategy. That's for all the people who follow the state. It's more of a HB 213 type of response. On the 12th, I had the great pleasure to participate in the E470 Safety Foundation golf event. We give away, or the Safety Foundation gives away monies to after prom parties, as well as safety type of grants to organizations, senior centers, people who install baby seats to the underserved. We raised $90,000 that day. On the 15th, I had the E470 board meeting. It was more of a finance-driven type of thing. E470's bond rating was upgraded by S&P from A to A+. That's a positive. And we talked about toll rates, and we're going to, even in the light of higher inflation, we're going to continue to freeze toll rates through 2023. And I also attended the Downtown Business Alliance golf event, and again, just to kind of capitalize on the police theme. I showed up. It was a holiday. People had the day off, and the foursome in front of ours was 3 members of the Parker Police and the Lone Tree Police Chief. So they didn't have to play. They didn't have to give up their day off, but they chose to be a part of the community. And seeing the Lone Tree Police Chief there just kind of the undertone of the collegiality, which creates collaboration within our police forces within Douglas County and just outside, I think, to your point, is second to none. Thank you.
Councilmember Wilkes.
Yeah, so as a new council member, I was invited by the chief of police to sit in on as many of the Civic Academy classes that I could, so I got to enjoy quite a few of those, but I got to be at the very last one, which was on June 8th, and that was just wonderful, and it was a way to go out with a bang, so I liked that class a lot. And then obviously on the 10th, I did Parker Days. I've been going to Parker Days for 40 years, and this was I guess 38 if you count taking out for COVID. Nonetheless, it was awesome to get to be a part of that, and I wasn't chased by lightning. I left before that, so it was all good. On the 19th, the 15th, I also had the Parker Water and Sanitation District Water Conservation Meeting, which was fantastic. The DBA golf tournament, I'm actually part of the committee. It's kind of my event and my baby, and so I was so happy to see so many council members there and so many people from the public, and that our chief was able to make it. And for those of you that don't know, the Downtown Business Alliance golf tournament, all of the proceeds go to fund the Trunk or Treat off Main Street, which we brought back, and the Christmas parade. So we raised quite a bit of funds for that, almost $15,000, which is going to go towards those other events that we do for the community, and that was just fantastic. Other than that, I hope you all had a good Father's Day if you're fathers.
Councilmember Hefta.
I did attend the meeting with Parker Water and Councilmember Wilkes and Councilmember Barrington. And I do like to keep up on issues that affect our community, not only in the United States. So I also like to keep up the issues that affect us in Colorado as well. I do have a blog on my website that I will be writing a blog on. I have a blog on my website that addresses numerous issues in throughout Parker and also throughout the state of Colorado. And I will be writing a blog on water conservation, what we learned at this meeting in general terms, nothing too specific, but I always have it well researched and well thought out when I put a blog up, when I put a blog post up on some of the issues in our community. So water conservation is an issue in Colorado. So I will be putting that up in the next week or two. Also, I would like to give a huge shout out for all our great dads out there. We always hear about Mother's Day and how important that is. But Father's Day is very, very important. And we have the dads of Parker in this town. We've got some wonderful HOA presidents proudly serving our community. Men are such an integral part to our community and the service they provide us as human beings and as dads. So happy Father's Day belated to everyone out there that's celebrating. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Councilmember. All right, next up on the agenda is the consent agenda. Consent agenda items are considered to be routine and will be enacted by one motion and one vote. There are no separate discussions of consent agenda items unless council votes to remove it for further discussion. Ordinances on the consent agenda are for introduction only and will not be removed for any discussion. So council, you have items 5A through 5K on for your consideration.
Mr. Mayor, I move to approve consent agenda items 5A through 5K.
Second.
Motion is made by Dyak, seconded by Hefta. Barrington? Hendricks?
Yes.
Dyak?
Yes.
Wilks?
Aye.
Hefta?
Yes.
And that passes 5-0. Next up is our resolutions. Resolution number 23-046, a resolution to appoint the presiding municipal court judge and approve the presiding municipal court judge employment agreement. So this is a moment in time that none of us sitting up here on the dais have ever experienced because our former judge, Judge Seidel, spent 22 years on the bench while we were still young folks. But we have the opportunity now to introduce you to an amazing, amazing man in the town of Parker. But we do have a little bit of business to take forward before we get to introduce you and swear him in. So, council, you've already interviewed Judge White. You've already made your selection. So with your consent, I would just move that we forego what we would normally ask in terms of questions and that we would open this for public comment and then have a vote, and then we can let the Honorable Judge White be sworn in and make a statement. Is there any disagreement with that? Great, seeing none.
Mr. Mayor, for the record, I'd just like to read into the record that this is a resolution number 2346, a resolution to appoint the presiding municipal court judge and approve the presiding municipal court judge employment agreement.
Yep, did I not read that? Okay, all right, perfect. So let's see. I will open this up for public comment at 7:28 p.m. Anyone from the public wishing to make a comment on the new judge? Seeing none, we'll close public comment at 7:28. Council, I will remand this back to you for comment prior to any motion. Councilmember Dyak.
As Mayor, as you were saying that we've never been in this, in my mind, I was trying to think if Judge Seidel presided over any of my violations. And I don't think so. I'm 53, so I think they were when I was 18 and 16. But no, I think it's again, Judge Seidel was incredible. Judge White is going to be just as incredible. Just very decorated individual. His resume and the people that we know, or I know who know Judge White, have nothing but high regards for him, and just looking forward to his term here. So welcome aboard. Thank you.
Councilmember Wilks.
No, I'm excited. I get picked on because I'm the newest one, but I'm not going to be the newest one anymore, so I'm excited.
Councilmember Hefta.
The pedigree that Judge White has is just outstanding. I mean, we are truly honored to have someone with his caliber of judgeship throughout Colorado and on the bench apply to the town of Parker. We had so many great candidates, but his resume is just outstanding, and he is also a fellow military member of the Air Force and in the JAG Corps as well. So thank you, Judge White, for all you do, and we look forward to your service to the town of Parker.
Councilmember Hendricks.
I'll just echo what my fellow council members said. I'm very excited for Judge White to be joining us, and thank you for wanting to step up and help the town of Parker. And I look forward to many, many years of all the things you'll be doing.
Councilmember Barrington.
Yeah, we're excited to have you. Welcome aboard.
Great. And I awoke in Councilmember Rivero. It was midnight in Sweden, so I got this out of him. But he said, please share my appreciation for all the strides that Judge Seidel made in youth driving awareness. In his in the strides in his courtroom and his ability to educate the youth about mortal responsibilities of driving. I think I got that right. And he also said, welcome, Judge White. He's very much looking forward to spending some time with you, not in the courtroom, but, working side by side with you. And just from a point of personal perspective, I think Councilmember Hefta summed it up best. We are very, very fortunate in the town of Parker that someone of Judge White's caliber, of his experience and his prestige, picked Parker to be a judge in. Few people have his experience, and when you couple that with him being a 23-year resident of the town of Parker, he's kind of homegrown in it too. So, and Judge, I did warn you that we have a JAG, she's a colonel, and you were a lieutenant colonel, right? So, I expect some push-ups in the courtroom at some point. But anyways, welcome, Judge. We are very much looking forward to your judgeship. Council, with that, I will entertain a motion on resolution number 22-046.
And I move to approve resolution number 23-046.
I'll second.
Motion is made by Hefta, seconded by Hendricks. Barrington?
Yes.
Hendricks?
Yes.
Dyak?
Yes.
Wilkes?
Aye.
Hefta?
Yes.
And that passes 5-0. Madam Town Clerk, would you please swear in the new judge? Judge White, come on down.
I, Vincent White,
Do swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States of America,
do swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States of America,
the Constitution and laws of the state of Colorado,
the Constitution and laws of the state of Colorado,
and the charter and ordinances of the town of Parker,
and the charter and ordinances of the town of Parker,
and will faithfully perform the duties of the office
and will faithfully perform the duties of the office
of municipal court judge,
of municipal court judge,
upon which I'm about to enter,
upon which I'm about to enter,
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
Congratulations.
So he's just signing his W-4s. Ladies and gentlemen of Parker, it is my honor that some mayors don't ever get to do in their term to introduce you to our new municipal court judge, Judge White. Welcome aboard.
All right, got a couple here. One like this, just for fun. All right, thank you.
Judge White, the floor is yours, and welcome aboard.
I was just warned that I was going to give a lawyer a chance to talk in the middle of a meeting, it's trouble. So I just started with that, and I just got warned I was going to do that. So I wanted to first thank the council members for and mayor and council members for your faith and confidence in me. And I do appreciate that, and I'm honored by that. And I was reminded when I got this job and being sworn in right now was the first time I was ever sworn in at the age of 18 when I got sworn into the Army. I swore to took an oath to protect the country. And, and all the other swearing-ins I've been into at that time. And I can just say right now that I'm never more prouder than what I just did 5 minutes ago to be the judge of your community. I moved here when I don't know if you recall, I was telling the parties when we had the Blockbuster and the Pizza Hut down at the corner of Parker and Lincoln. And when we moved here, and my wife at the time, Callie, had a job. We got a job down this way, and we didn't know anything about Parker. So we drove down the road, and we saw a great community, and people were saying hi, and we loved it, and we thought it was just a wonderful time and place to live. And I didn't realize that I'd have this glorious honor to now, be the judge of the town that I love and live in and lived in for a number of years. So I do appreciate that, and I do take this appointment very seriously, and I'm honored and humbled by that. And I am honored and humbled to work with the chief of police and the police department, the town and city attorney, and actually the teen court and the kids of Colorado. And I'm excited to be a part of the community and a part of the fabric of this community. And it's just a glorious honor for my career and my life. And I couldn't be more honored and humbled to be your judge, because the judge is the judge for the people of the community and determines the community. And I'm glad to be that representative for all of you and all the community members here in Parker. And I hope that I uphold the high standards of Judge Seidel, who I knew really well. I will work hard to uphold those high standards and carry forward to even higher standards, hopefully, for the town of Parker. And I look forward to doing that. And every day, and if anybody ever needs to talk or ask questions, I hope I'm also a person that people can talk to and be approachable and talk about laws and ordinances and things in Parker. If you're ever interested, I'm kind of known to frequent local coffee shops and other places around the town of Parker. Don't hesitate to walk up and say hi and talk about what we're doing in Parker, because I would love that. So thank you again, council members, mayor. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Congratulations. And so we're clear, everybody, that's his last day of being nice on the job. Every time you come before him, then, no, he's a great guy. All right, next up is resolution number 23-055, a resolution to appoint the chair and appoint members and alternates of the Town of Parker Planning Commission. Mr. Matthews.
Thank you, Mayor, members of council. As you're aware, the Planning Commission has a total of 10 members, 7 regular and 3 alternates. The commission currently has openings for 3 regular positions and 3 alternate positions because of term expirations and resignations. The purpose of this resolution is to appoint applicants to fill the openings and appoint a chair for the Planning Commission, so the Planning Commission can continue to operate without interruption. Planning Commission plays an important role in the town's planning process as an appointed body that provides recommendations to town council on both master plans and on development proposals and how they meet the criteria. Regular Planning Commission members are appointed for 3 years, and alternates are appointed for 1 year. The council will need to appoint 3 regulars and 3 alternates to fill the expiring terms. Commissioner Roxy Collette has requested reappointment as a regular. Commissioner Forrester and Kim Riddell will be resigning. Alternate Nick Metz has requested reappointment either as a regular or an alternate. And alternates Jane Lane and Ira Shapiro requested reappointment as alternates. 4 candidates meeting the requirements for service did interview and apply. All 4 of them were great options, and they were interviewed on May 9th. The review committee consisted of council members Wilkes and council member Hendricks, Planning Commission Chairman Gary Poole, Community Development Director John Fusa, Jeff Miller, the Planning Coordinator, and myself. The review committee recommends that the town council appoint the following 3 regular members to the Planning Commission: Roxy Collette, Leland Sloan, and Nick Metz. And appoint the following 3 alternate members for 1-year terms to the Planning Commission: Angela Lindstrom, Jane Lane, and Eric Rieger, as well as reappoint Gary Poole as the chair to the Planning Commission. The town appreciates the time and dedication that commissioners invest in our community. Special thanks to those that are leaving the commission, and we look forward to the contributions of the new members. This concludes staff's presentation. There are many current and proposed members of the Planning Commission here tonight. As always, I'm available for any comment or questions you may have.
Great, Council. We'll start with, and just for a heads up for the proposed planning commissioners, we're going to have some questions for you here. So if you want to start filing in behind Bryce, at least one member of the council will have some questions for you. So we'll start with questions for Bryce. Councilmember Barrington?
No questions, thank you.
Councilmember Hendricks?
No questions.
Councilmember Dyke?
Just appreciate your efforts. Thank you.
Councilmember Wilkes?
No questions.
And Councilmember Hefta?
Thanks for your hard work, Bryce, on this.
Thank you.
Great. So Bryce, if we could have the newly appointed and reappointed chair come on up.
All right.
We'll see if there's any questions from the council.
New members?
Chairman Poole, I'm keeping your seat warm here for you. So, all right.
Step to the side.
This is great. Great. And if y'all could step up and introduce yourself, we'll start with you, Chairman.
All right, Gary Poole, current Chairman of the Planning Commission, and hoping to be reappointed as Chairman of the Planning Commission.
Excellent.
Leland Sloan is a new member. Looking forward to see what I'm going to be able to do.
Great. Thank you, sir.
Hi, I'm Angela Lindstrom. I'm also a new member, and I am looking forward to getting started. Thanks.
Hi, my name is Jane Lane. I'm currently an alternate for the Planning Commission and looking to seek reappointment for the same. Thank you.
Great.
Nick Metz, current alternate, looking to seek a new term for regular commission.
Eric Rieger, proposed alternate for the new commission.
Excellent. And we don't have Roxy tonight with us. Okay, perfect. So council, questions for the returning or proposed members of the Planning Commission. We'll start to my far left and Councilmember Hefta.
How did you know, Mayor?
Had a hunch? I saw Bryce cringing when I was choosing who.
So just a general question, if you could each answer just the one question. If you have currently served, what is one thing you have learned business-wise about serving on the Planning Commission? And if you are new, what is one thing you are hoping to learn?
Chairman, can we put you on the spot to start?
Oh, sure.
All right.
Happy to. Well, I guess the most important thing that I've learned, and it's something you all know, but it's important to remind people every once in a while, everything you see on social media isn't true. And that comes to planning and zoning as well. And, often we hear, well, we saw this, or we read this, and there's just no basis in fact for that. And, we politely kind of redirect people to what the code says, what the actual information says that we're working through. And so that's my takeaway.
I'm just looking forward to find out what all these vacant lots and everything that's going to be put on them that I just live right around the corner here. I've been here for 21 years. I've seen so much good development, and I'm looking forward to seeing more and helping participate in more.
As I'm new as well, I'm looking forward to learning just how the ordinances all tie together and how we can interpret them to, make a win-win situation for our town.
Hi, I'm Jane again, and I currently sit on as an alternate on the Planning Commission. One thing that I've really appreciated thus far is the staff's ability and willingness to train us into Parker-specific requirements for zoning, their master plan, the LDO, those sorts of things. And so I look forward to continuing to make sure that development projects meet those criteria.
I second Jane. The time and effort staff puts into our presentations is just extraordinary, and definitely look forward to hearing more great presentations in the future and making sure the town grows in the appropriate manner.
I'll just echo what some people have already said as far as playing an active role in the development of our town and just being part of that. I'm looking forward to that.
Thank you all for those answers. We'll go through the motions here. Councilmember Wilkes, any questions?
Yeah, so you guys, for Leland and Angela and Eric, you remember when we were interviewing, I had my own special question for you if you think that you can handle when there's some controversy. And hopefully you all sat in on the last Planning Commission meeting to see what it was, and I just want to know, are you guys still feeling good about the Planning Commission?
Yes.
Perfect.
All right. Councilmember Dyak?
I have no questions other than thank you for stepping up and to be of service to your community. And I honestly, I can't remember a planning commission that has not been chaired by Gary Poole. So, Gary, I don't know how long you've been doing this, but again, thank you very much.
Thanks, John.
Councilmember Hendricks.
No questions. I used to be a former planning commissioner myself, and just wanted to thank you for stepping up and actually giving back to the community. It's rare, and good luck, and hope you enjoy it.
Great. Councilmember Barrington.
I would like to thank you also. I know it's a big commitment, a big time commitment, and can be and will be very thankless. So thank you again.
Great. With that, I will open up resolution number 23-055 for any public comment. Anyone from the public wishing to make comment on the appointment of our chair or commissioners? Okay, open and closed at 7:46 p.m. Council, I'll bring this back to you. I think Diet got you on the wrong path of making comments instead of questions, but does anyone have a comment before we?
Do you want to recreate that comment?
Any comments? Okay, then I'll entertain a motion on resolution number 23-055.
Mr. Mayor, I move to approve resolution number 23-055.
I'll second.
Motion is made by Wilks, seconded by Hendricks. Barrington?
Yes.
Hendricks?
Yes.
Dyak?
Yes.
Wilks?
Aye.
Hefta?
Yes.
And that passes 5-0. So don't leave because we want to take a picture with the new planning commission. I know, ups and downs, ups and downs. But I want to, just as a point of personal preference, I want to acknowledge Rich Forrester and Kim Rodell for your years and years of service on the planning commission. I know Commissioner Forrester is not going anywhere. He'll be around Parker. And I was very saddened to learn that Commissioner Rodell is going to be leaving our community. So hopefully somewhere close where you can get back to often. But she's shaking her head no. I'm out of here. Awesome, awesome, awesome. But I just want to say to both of you, thank you so much. Your fingerprints and your decision-making is on the town. There's a lot of good decisions that you have made that has spurred the town on in terms of growth, and we very much appreciate your contribution to the town of Parker. So thank you very much. And we also have a couple of existing planning commissioners back there in the back. So would you join us with the, well, you're still there, right? Okay, all right. Come on down, Ruth and Ilian, and join us with the new planning commission team, and we'll get a picture in here. I think this last picture. You never know.
The other commissioner that's leaving, she needs to come down too.
Kim
I should have.
Oh, Blanchard really gives punch of summer.
Jeff, make Kim join the photo.
Okay.
That's right.
Have you all squeeze in just a little bit?
Yeah, I'm on heels tonight.
Closer here. Looks good. Here.
I guess we're not.
I feel like clapping.
Good job. Yeah.
How are you?
I'll see you.
Whoa.
I was in the first
Yes.
round of interviews.
Yeah, it was 3 years ago.
Yeah, good to see you. That's right.
Just standing up the rest of the meeting.
All right, thank you, Planning Commission. Next up, and Chris Hudson, get ready for a picture. You never know. Resolution number 23-057. Let's see, a resolution approving the waiver of bidding requirements and ratifying a contract related to emergency storm drainage and road repairs for Bradbury Ranch Drive. And I hope you brought pictures.
I did.
All right.
Next slide, please. So give a little bit of background here. On Sunday, June 11th, there was an existing 66-inch, so 5.5-foot diameter corrugated metal pipe under Bradbury Ranch Drive failed in a rain event. Failure resulted in a sinkhole. The roadway was closed between Independence Drive and McClellan Road. This is just west of Jordan Road. Bradbury Ranch Drive is the primary road of ingress and egress from the subdivision. This section of Bradbury Ranch is located at the northwest corner of Jordan. I should say Jordan and Main Street. I apologize. Engineering Public Works Department was mobilized after the police shut it down. We had emergency contractor, Quality Pipe Service, who actually does the emergency contractor for Parker Water and Sanitation District. Assisted with stabilizing the sinkhole. It continued to grow on Sunday. This is a vicinity map of where it's at, just west of Jordan Road. Next slide, please. They worked through the night on Monday, June 12th. They were able to stabilize the sinkhole. At this point, it was about 15 feet deep and spanned nearly the entirety of the roadway. We immediately engaged Engineering Public Works, immediately engaged an engineering consultant to design a permanent solution. Because what was there, it failed. So we're going to go with something different. The repair is beyond the ability of our Engineering Public Works crew to handle. So we decided to bring in a pre-qualified specialty contractor with Mile High Flood Control District. Naranjo Civil Constructors was available and mobilized on Tuesday, the 13th of June. Next slide. So you've probably seen this picture. This is what the police tweeted out. This is what it looked like during the day on Sunday. A blue line in the background, a blue blob. That's actually a 12-inch Parker water line that serves the subdivision. It was undermined, and every utility you can think of is out there. We've got Core Electric, Comcast, Gas, MCI, CenturyLink, and a couple unknown utilities that no one's claiming right now that we're suspending in the air with the excavation. Next slide, please. So this is the action shots, what's going on. The one on the upper left, that was last Friday. 3 excavators going at the same time, ripping up the stuff. Lower right was one that was done. We brought in a temporary, what's called a trench box to support the earth because it keeps sloughing in. Next slide, please. This is actually a drone shot that was done midweek last week. The whole road now is, all the sidewalk and everything's gone, the pipe's been removed. We worked yesterday, placed over 260 cubic yards of what's known as flow fill to stabilize the subgrade so that we can get in there. And we're currently pumping around the water that flows through the pipe. And we pray that it does not rain here in the next couple of weeks as intense as it did back on 2 Sundays ago. Next slide. So 2005, the voters here in Parker approved an amendment to section 15.8 on how we award public works contracts. This was reflected the following council meeting in section 1113. And next statement says that projects will be bid unless the town council determines on recommendation of the town administrator that the public interest be served by competitive proposal or by negotiating a contract with a signal contractor. I wanted to point this out. We typically do what's known as design, bid, build. We fully design, then we bid, then we award, and then we construct. This is an emergency situation that's out there. We've got to get this road reopened. That process, if we were to kick it off right now, we'd be 3 months down the road before we'd have a contractor on board. So, next slide, please. In case of emergencies, the town council may waive all requirements for bidding and competitive proposals for expenditure of more than $100,000. In such cases, the town administrator will direct the appropriate department head, my boss, Director of Engineering Public Works, basically to engage someone as expeditiously as possible. Next slide. The pipe failure and closure of Bradbury is an emergency affecting the public peace, health, and safety. Town manager did direct the Public Works Director to procure emergency repairs. The engineering director and the town manager have recommended the public interest be best served by negotiating with a single contractor. This resolution would ratify a contract entered into with Naranjo Civil Constructors for the emergency repairs. And it's very possible, we've spent over $100,000 already as of yesterday, that this contract will be exceeded. We'll circle back to you and let you know what the final cost is. If this was a traditional design bid build, you'd know the price up front. We won't know until we get done. We've been very lucky. We have a lot of utilities to move. My 20-some years here at the town have paid off because I know who to call. We've been able to isolate out the Parker water line, and we've also been able to isolate out the gas, natural gas, and the power from the work, the dig area, through those relationships. Next slide. Any questions that you might have about this?
Great. All right, Council, we're going to start to my far right on questions for Chris. Councilmember Barrington? Questions?
I have a lot of comments, but I think I will ask just one question, because I'm sure a lot of people might be thinking this, like, how does something like this even happen? I mean, I know that we've had so much rain and systems fail, but I'm just...
I don't claim to be a forensic engineer, but corrosion of a metal pipe in the ground that was placed in the mid-90s is the #1 culprit, in my opinion. Throw that on top of a lot of rain that we've gotten, a lot of flow, and that's what caused it. There's other failures you've been seeing in the news, County Road 13, Albert County. There's other sinkholes in Denver Metro as well because of the rain we've been having. But weaknesses in systems, guess what? You find them when there's big events like we've been having. So,
Thank you.
Councilmember Hendricks, any questions?
As far as your memory recollects, is this the first sinkhole in Parker?
before my time, in 1998, there was a sinkhole at Main Street in Dransfeld. I didn't live in the community back then, but when I first started in late 99, my boss told me about it. That was due to a failed storm drain pipe as well. But that's the only one that I'm aware of.
And, assuming things progress tonight, how roughly long would it take to repair?
I think in another 3 weeks, we're going to have the road reopened. There'll probably be some daytime closures. One thing is just getting the road done. There's a lot of landscaping and some other stuff that has to be repaired as well beyond that. Because we are tearing things up, Todd.
Yep, no doubt. Thank you.
Councilmember Dyak.
Chris, you mentioned Mile High Flood. I mean, they've been great partners with, projects within Parker. Is there a potential to leverage some funding from them from an emergency standpoint?
I am not aware of anything. I've asked the question. There might be a possibility. I don't know if the Public Works Director is here that would be able to answer that question, but I'm not sure.
We're going to have to get Tom Williams to
Batting relief, Tom Williams.
There you go.
So, Councilmember Dyak, since this is a culvert underneath a roadway, these types of drainage improvements typically aren't eligible for assistance by the Mile High Flood Control District. They usually provide funding for major drainage ways, channels like Cherry Creek and Newland Gulch and Sulphur Gulch. So we haven't made that inquiry, but my guess is that it's probably not eligible. But if I could, I wanted to go back and also answer another question that came up previously by Councilmember Hendricks. We've had other failures in the town. Chris mentioned one back in '98. We had another small one in a parking lot of a bank off of Plaza Drive and Parker Road about 13 years ago. What we commonly find with these types of failures is it's the material of the pipe that was used. And in this situation, it was a corrugated metal pipe. Those typically have a service life of about 30 to 50 years. It's about 30 years right now. So it does happen, but I do want to reassure town council and the mayor and the public that the vast majority of the culvert pipe and storm sewers that we have in town is made of reinforced concrete pipe, and those have a much longer service life than metal or plastic, specifically metal. And so this is a rare occurrence, and it will continue to be a rare occurrence because the majority of our pipe is of stronger material.
Well, I think you can argue that this has become a major floodway area since the erosion happened. So maybe we can get lucky with some match funding.
I guess we could leave it open and ask the question if it'd be a major drainage way instead of
There
a
you go.
pipe.
We can chat.
It is now.
Yeah.
We'll move on to Councilmember Welks.
So 2 questions. The first one's just I just need a little bit more clarification on John. So how much of where the sinkhole is, how much of the pipe in both directions did we replace besides just the damaged part that failed?
We
Or
will
are
be
we
replacing
replacing?
all of it.
And how, does that run the whole Bradbury
Yeah,
Ranch?
about a little bit more than 110 feet. of
Okay.
pipe.
So we're not going to have another sinkhole like 50 feet down the
Correct.
road? Okay.
We're replacing all of it.
Okay, and then my second question is, so is this, forgive me because I'm learning and new, is this essentially like, because this is an emergency situation because of the unprecedented rainfall, we're essentially calling for emergency funds to approve to fix and remedy this situation?
So we're not right now requesting the budget. All we're requesting from town council is authorization to enter into this contract to make the repair. Our finance director and Chris and myself will be coming back to you with a budget amendment to appropriate the funding to build the project.
Perfect, thank you.
You bet.
Councilmember Hefta?
And just on Naranjo Civil Construction, how do you pronounce that?
Naranjo Civil?
Naranjo, yeah.
Yes.
And has this been a contractor you've worked with previously before, so you do know their work?
Yes, ma'am.
And so this was part of the reason why you were able to quickly assess the situation and reach out to them? How did that work?
Yes, ma'am. So Naranjo Civil Constructors has performed a number of big capital drainage projects for the town and the Mile High Flood Control District. They are what Mile High Flood Control District considers a preferred contractor, which means that they have the experience to be able to do this type of work. They were actually going to be under contract to do some work upstream of this same location in the major drainage way as part of a Mile High Flood District town joint project. And so it just made sense, since they were going to be under contract to do that work because they have the experience and the expertise to do this type of work, to call them and see if they were available. And they were. They were able to show up the next day.
Thank you.
Thank you both. With that, I will open up the public comment for resolution number 23-057. Anyone from the public wishing to make comment on this resolution? Seeing none, we'll open and close that at 8:04 and get it back to council for any final comments. Councilmember Barrington, we'll start with you.
So, yeah, I mean, while contracts like this usually involve a bidding process, flexibility is obviously crucial during emergencies, and I think this is the responsible decision, and it's going to prioritize our community's well-being, so thank you.
Great, sorry. Councilmember Hendricks.
No comment.
Councilmember Dyak.
Appreciate the fast-acting efforts of our staff and our contract. Again, in an emergency situation, you need to do what we need to do, and I'm happy to close the loop tonight. Thank you.
Councilmember Wilkes.
Yeah, I second Councilmember Dyak. The quickness in the response was fantastic, but also the communication. Normally, when something like this happens, we're all just kind of listening to what everybody's saying on social media, but you guys were actually able to communicate that there was a problem, and here's the safety, and here's what we're doing. And so I appreciate the communication to the public as well.
Councilmember Hefta.
I just want to compliment Public Works and Engineering Director Tom Williams and Chris Hudson on the relationships that you built with the contractors in the community. And it's because of your relationships that you build with them that we're able to serve the citizens of Parker quickly and effectively. So thank you for those great relationships.
Great. With that, I'll entertain a motion on resolution number 23-057.
I move to approve resolution number 23-057.
Second.
Motion is made by Hendricks, second by Wilkes. Barrington?
Yes.
Hendricks?
Yes.
Dyak? Wilkes?
Aye.
Hefta?
Yes.
And that passes 5-0. And just as a point of personal privilege, Tom, Chris, Chief, thank you for having your people out there so fast in the rain all night long, securing the site. There was never a chance when our citizens were in danger because of that. So, but I know they got some good pictures, so it was good. But thank you guys for having your teams out there. Really appreciate it. All right, with that, we'll move into ordinances. First up is ordinance number 5.28.32 on second reading, a bill for an ordinance to amend Chapter 5.02 of the Parker Municipal Code to conform to recent changes to state law regarding the sale of wine and allowing for administrative approval of temporary sales rooms. Got our town attorney's office.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yes, this is an ordinance to amend Chapter 5.02 of the Parker Municipal Code. In November 2022, voters approved Proposition 125, which allowed grocery stores and convenience stores to sell wine in addition to fermented malt beverages. To do this, it created a new license called a Fermented Malt Beverage and Wine Retailer License, and the previous fermented malt beverage licenses were automatically converted to this new type of license. So we have recommendations from the licensing authority to make these changes to the code. The first change they're recommending is to change the phrase fermented malt beverage license to fermented malt beverage and wine retailer license. The second revision that they are recommending adds temporary liquor sales rooms to the list of licensing approvals that may be handled administratively. Temporary sales rooms are a state approval, but they're still required to seek the consent of the licensing authority. The consent is limited to impacts on traffic, noise, and neighborhood concerns, violation of liquor code or laws of the town, or violations of local zoning laws. The form only provides space for a signature indicating objection or no objection, and the time for consent is 10 business days for events lasting 3 days or less. So the second change would allow for administrative approval with the town clerk's ability to still refer this to the licensing authority if there are concerns.
Excellent. Staff questions? We'll start with Councilmember Dyak.
No questions, thank you.
Okay. Councilmember Wilkes.
No questions.
Councilmember Hefta.
No questions.
Councilmember Hendricks.
No questions.
Councilmember Barrington.
No questions.
All right, then I'll open up the public hearing, public comment section at 8:08 on ordinance number 5.28.32. Anyone from the public? See none, we'll close it at 8:08 and bring it back to the council for final comments and debate. Councilmember Dyak.
No comments.
Councilmember Wilkes.
No, thank you.
Councilmember Hefta.
Typically, we want to be in conformance with the statewide and state law.
Okay, Councilmember Hendricks. And Councilmember Barrington.
No comment, thank you.
All right, I'll entertain a motion on ordinance number 5.28.32.
Move to approve ordinance number 5.28.32 on second reading.
Second.
Motion is made by Hendricks and seconded by Wilkes. Barrington?
Yes.
Hendricks?
Yes.
Dyak?
Yes.
Wilkes?
Aye.
Hefta?
Yes.
And that passes 5-0. Next up is ordinance number 9.260.1 on second reading, a bill for an ordinance to approve the First Amendment of the intergovernmental agreement by and between the E470 Public Highway Authority and the Town of Parker regarding the extension of the existing E470 trail. I think we have Mr. Collins. Welcome.
Tonight I'd like to recommend approving an amendment to the High Plains Trail project.
Hey, Brett, is your mic on?
There it is now.
There you go.
There we go. Yeah, as you've probably seen, that we're making really good progress on the bridge. You've probably seen the abutments going in. Hopefully, we'll have a bridge set out there on the High Plains Trail here in July. No promises with the weather. We've been fighting that on and off with the rain, as everybody's aware of. But in order to move forward with the project, we have multiple funding partners. One of them's the E470 Highway Authority. Our IGA will currently expire on November 21st of this year, but the funding's still needed for the construction. So we would like to recommend approving an extension to December 31st, 2025, just to make sure that the project will be able to be completed. And the reason we're having to do this is because within that IGA, it reads that the whole trail has to be completed before we can get the funding from the E470 authority. So with that, I think I would take any questions. You have the other information in your packet, and I think everybody's really familiar with the High Plains Trail Bridge.
Great. So we'll start with questions to my right. Councilmember Hendricks?
No questions.
Councilmember Barrington?
No questions, thank you.
Councilmember Dyak?
No questions.
Councilmember Wilkes?
No questions.
And Councilmember Hefta?
No questions.
All right, we will open it for public comment on ordinance number 9.260.1 at 8:11. Anybody from the public wishing to make a public comment? Seeing none, we'll close it at 8:11 and bring it back for final comments and debate from the council in the same order. Councilmember Hendricks?
I'm good. Thank you.
Okay. Councilmember Barrington?
No, thank you.
Councilmember Dyak?
No comment.
Councilmember Wilkes?
No, thank you.
And Councilmember Hefta?
Just appreciate the cooperation for all involved on this matter.
All right, with that, I'll entertain a motion on ordinance number 9.260.1.
I move to approve ordinance number 3.361 on first reading to schedule second reading for July 10th, 2023 as part of the consent agenda.
You meant 9.260.
Can we, withdraw that motion?
Oops.
The corrected motion should be, I move to approve ordinance number 9.260.1 on second reading.
Do you adopt that corrected?
I do.
All right. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion is made by Hendricks, seconded by Dyak. Barrington?
Yes.
Hendricks?
Yes.
Dyak? Wilkes?
Yes.
Hefta?
Yes.
And that passes 5-0. Please excuse the newbies. First time motion maker. All right. Next up is the first of 4 ballot measures that we expect to see on the general ballot here in November 7th of 2023. So ordinance number 1.583 on second reading, a bill for an ordinance submitting a ballot question to the registered electors of the town of Parker at the November 7th, 2023 election to amend Town of Parker Home Rule Charter, Section 3.1, titled Town Council. Kelsey, you're presenting.
All right. Thanks so much for having me, Mayor and Council. As you mentioned for the title, this is the first of 4 potential charter questions that will be put on this November's ballot if approved. So currently, our enforcement ordinance allows Town Council to enforce ordinances and regulations by setting a fine up to $1,000 or imprisonment of up to 1 year for each and every offense. However, state law authorizes higher amounts for fines, mostly to keep up with inflation, and it's at about $2,650 right now. Also, imprisonment is only authorized up to 364 days, so just shy of that 1 year time. So if you put this on the ballot and if it's approved, it would just allow our enforcement mechanisms to be in compliance with state law.
Great. We'll go with questions. Councilmember Hendricks.
No questions. Thank you.
Councilmember Barrington.
No questions, thanks.
Councilmember Hefta.
No questions.
Councilmember Wilkes.
No questions.
And Councilmember Dyak.
No questions.
You guys are easy tonight. We'll open up for public comment on ordinance number 1.583 at 8:14. Anyone from the public wishing to make a comment? This is where the public starts to just wave me off, like, don't look at me, don't look at me. All right, we'll close that at 8:14 and bring it back to the council in the same order. Councilmember Hendricks, any final comments?
No comments.
Councilmember Barrington?
No, thank you.
Councilmember Hefta?
None, thanks.
Councilmember Wilkes?
Anytime we can just get up to date and in compliance on a state level, I'm all for it. So thank you for the work.
And Councilmember Dyak?
No comment.
All right, with that, I'll entertain a motion on ordinance number 1.583.
I move to approve ordinance number 1.583 on second reading.
Second.
Motion was made by Wilkes, seconded by Hefta. Barrington?
Yes.
Hendricks?
Yes.
Dyak?
Yes.
Wilkes?
Yes.
Hefta?
Yes.
And that passes 5-0. Next up is ordinance number 1.584 on second reading. A bill for an ordinance submitting a ballot question to the registered electors of the town of Parker at the November 7th, 2023 special election to amend Town of Parker Home Rule Charter Section 4.6 titled Departments Created.
Wonderful. Thank you, Mayor. So this ballot question would affect Section 4.6 as a cleanup measure. Back in the 2019 election, the voters approved an amendment to Section 15.19 of the Charter, which really states that the responsibility for the personnel manual lies with the town manager as opposed to council. And so this would help create a consistency within our charter so that it's very clear that the town manager is in charge of the administration and discipline of staff, along with the personnel manual issues, rather than it being a council issue.
Great. We'll go in reverse order. Councilmember Hefta, any questions on this one?
None.
Councilmember Wilkes?
Can you come back to me? I need to word this question right.
Sure. Councilmember Dyak?
No questions.
Councilmember Hendricks?
No questions.
Councilmember Barrington?
No, I think my questions have been answered. Thank you.
I hope that was slow enough. I could
No,
talk
not at all, but that's
slower.
okay. Okay, so I just want to clarify, just for everybody else that might be hearing it. So we gave the power already to our town manager, and this is just a cleanup measure, taking out some confusing verbiage on who's responsible for what, correct? Correct, yes. You gave all power over staff to Michelle, our town manager, and so this gets rid of that inconsistency so that we're all on the same page. Thank you. I had to word it right.
Great. With that, we'll open up the public comment at 8:16. Anyone wishing to make public comment on ordinance number 1.584? Seeing none, we'll close it at 8:16 and back to council for final comments. Councilmember Hefta?
Yes, the town council are policymakers, and the town manager is responsible for the personnel of the town. So this is a good clarification and a good cleanup measure. Thank you.
Councilmember Wilkes?
None, thank you.
Councilmember Dyak?
No comments.
Councilmember Hendricks?
No comment.
And Councilmember Barrington?
I'm good, thank you.
All right, with that, I'll entertain a motion on ordinance number 1.584 on second reading.
Redemption time. I move to approve ordinance number 1.584 on second reading.
Second.
Motion is made by Hendricks, seconded by Wilkes. Barrington?
Yes.
Hendricks?
Yes.
Dyak?
Yes.
Wilkes?
Aye.
Hefta?
Yes, an excellent job, Todd.
Thank you.
Passes 5-0. All right, let's go. Ordinance number 1.585 on second reading, a bill for an ordinance submitting a ballot question to the registered electors of the town of Parker at the November 7th, 2023 special election to amend Town of Parker Home Rule Charter Section 8.3 entitled Department of Police, subsection C, concerning the oath of office.
All right, so Section 8.3 deals with the swearing in of our new police officers. Currently, this can only be done by our town clerk, and so this ballot question would enable our chief of police to also swear in new officers. It would be, one, an efficiency, and two, just a nice thing for the chief of police to be able to do that.
Perfect. We will go in reverse. Councilmember Barrington, any questions?
I think it's pretty self-explanatory. Thank you.
Councilmember Hendricks?
Any opportunity to give the chief of police more work to do? Oh, great.
Councilmember Dyak?
No questions.
Councilmember Wilkes?
No questions.
And Councilmember Hefta?
No questions.
All right, with that, we'll open it up for public comment at 8:18 on ordinance number 1.585. Anyone from the public? Seeing none, we'll close it at 8:18 and come back for final comments. Councilmember Barrington.
So we all love Chris. It's nothing against Chris. But I think that this is, it just makes sense.
And one point of clarification, our town clerk would still be able to perform this role. It would just expand it to the chief of police as well.
All right, Councilmember Hendricks.
I kid, chief. I kid. No other comment.
Councilmember Dyak.
No comments.
Councilmember Wilkes.
Yeah, I'm excited about this. I got to go to the police academy graduation where several municipalities were there swearing in, and I felt bad. I was like, oh, he's got to go up with our town clerk to swear in, and everybody else gets to swear in. So I'm really excited about this. I think it's going to be really great.
And Councilmember Hefta.
Well, we love our town clerk and we love our judges, and this is a great addition to allow our own chief of police to swear in the officers that he's going to supervise and train. Thank you.
Great. With that, I will entertain a motion on ordinance number 1.585.
I move to approve ordinance number 1.585 on second reading.
Second.
Motion is made by Barrington, seconded by Wilkes. Barrington?
Yes.
Hendricks?
Yes.
Dyak?
Yes.
Wilkes?
Aye.
Hefta?
Yes.
And that passes 5-0. And just to be clear, you may not be able to swear in people, but swearing at has always been within your purview. Okay. All right. Last ordinance of the night, ordinance number 1.586 on second reading, a bill for an ordinance submitting a ballot question to the registered electors of the town of Parker at the November 7th, 2023 special election to amend Town of Parker Home Rule Charter Section 15.7 titled Bequests, Gifts, and Donations.
All right, so for our last ballot question, we have section 15.7 of the charter, which authorizes only town council to accept gifts and bequests and to give away town property as a donation. As the town has grown, we've gotten a lot more things that people would like to donate to us, particularly artwork these days. It would represent an efficiency for you if you were able to pass an ordinance on a case-by-case basis, delegating your authority to either accept gifts or to make donations of specifically personal property, so not land, things that you can pick up. Yeah, so any questions on that?
Great. We'll start off with Councilmember Dyak. Any art you want to give away?
No, but it's just, I think we have a fair amount of art here in Parker, but I appreciate the discussion we had on this and supportive, I have no questions.
Councilmember Wilkes?
So just to clarify, this would, you said a case-by-case basis. So if somebody donated, let's say like a $500,000 piece of artwork, we would then decide if we wanted to give that away or if we wanted to keep it within the town. Yeah, so essentially what this would do is just give you the flexibility to craft whatever ordinance would suit your purposes. So if you wanted to say the cultural department has the authority to donate away art in its collection up to $500,000, you could do that. Currently, if you wanted to get rid of any piece of art, it would need to go through an ordinance process through council. Gotcha. Thank you. You're welcome.
Councilmember Hefta.
No questions.
Right. Councilmember Hendricks.
No questions.
And Councilmember Barrington.
So sometimes maybe the town might get something that might not be worth selling, but there's maybe some other organizations that could use them. Would that
Yes,
be
absolutely. So we had a great example of this recently. We replaced all of the chairs at the Pace Center, and they were done with their useful life for audit purposes, so they technically had no book value, but they still had, some life left in them, and we wanted to donate them to a church. But due to space constraints, we didn't have time to go through the whole ordinance process, so we had to do a bill of sale for a nominal amount. And so, you could craft an ordinance to say, some of these old surplus property items could be donated by our facilities group.
Okay, thank you.
With that, I will open up public comment on ordinance number 1.586 at 8:23. Anyone from the public?
I'd like to speak.
Come on, Mr. Adams, come down. While you're doing that, I'll set your timer here. And again, if you'll state your name and address for the record.
Christopher Adams, 125. Is my speaker on? How's that?
There you go.
Christopher Adams, 12581 Prince Creek Drive.
Go ahead.
Just from overhearing, it seems like we're doing a duplicative ordinance policy where we have an ordinance policy already in place and we're trying to replace it with one to give the power away. So how long do those ordinances last? Is there a time, there needs to be a time limit on them or a dollar amount? It just seems that we're saying we can't go through the ordinance process, but we need to go through the ordinance process to get rid of the ordinance process. So it just is very confusing and seems like we're not really getting rid of anything. We're just going through the process to not go through the process right away, but to push it to a later time. Thank you.
Thanks, sir. Anyone else wishing to make public comment? Kelsey, do you want to add some clarity?
Yeah, absolutely. And so the point of this is not to say specifically you would deal with one piece of property like the chairs. It would be to apply to all one category, and that way we could have more of an efficiency. So a good example is with our artwork. We get a lot of art that people would like to donate to the Pace Center in particular. And if each time that we received a potential donation, we had to go through this process and go to council, we could really backlog a lot of gifts. The same thing with a lot of art in our collections. Sometimes we just run out of space And it would be nice to give the authority to Carrie for, artworks up to a certain value so that she could make an educated decision about what should be in our collection instead of her having to come and do an ordinance every single time that she needed to create some room in the collection. So this is really just to enable you to have that flexibility as you need it, not to duplicate an ordinance process.
Great. Thanks for that clarification. And we'll close public comment at 8:25, and we'll remand it back to the council. Councilmember Dyak.
No comments, thank you.
Councilmember Wiltz.
Okay, so we're creating an ordinance to give to the authority to staff to donate as they see fit without having to come back to us to create an ordinance with every item that would need donated. So it's like a blanket ordinance.
That's correct.
Okay.
Thank
Because
you for the
otherwise
clar-
you'd have to go to council for an ordinance to get rid of the thing. Correct. Thanks for the clarification.
Councilmember Hefta.
No comment. Thank you for your briefing, Kelsey.
Councilmember Hendricks.
No comment, thank you.
And Councilmember Barrington.
I think this is just going to be a lot more efficient, so thank you.
All right, with that, I will entertain a motion on ordinance number 1.586.
I move to approve ordinance number 1.586 on second reading.
Second.
Motion is made by Wilkes, seconded by Hefta. Barrington.
Yes.
Hendricks.
Yes.
Dyak.
Yes.
Wilkes.
Aye.
Hefta.
Yes.
And that passes 5-0. Just for clarification for the audience, these are ballot questions for November of 2023. No ordinances were made tonight. This is our suggested ballot language that we're putting on. So the Town of Parker citizens will have the chance to approve or disapprove this. Madam Town Attorney, do you want to weigh in?
I just wanted to talk about the next motion
Oh, okay.
that is needed for executive session.
Yes, so we have some work still to do from our 5 o'clock start meeting. So I'm going to entertain a motion to,
To reconvene,
Please.
yes, if you don't mind, if I can read
Go-
the motion and
go
then
ahead.
someone can just say so moved.
okay?
So we're going to reconvene an executive session to determine positions relative to matters that may be subject to negotiations, develop a strategy for negotiations, and/or instruct negotiators pursuant to CRS 24640224E. The two topics that will be discussed are, first, negotiations related to the proposed annexation agreement between the town and the Denver Pope Family Limited Partnership concerning the real property commonly known as the Pope property, generally located adjacent to and west of the Kohl's Shopping Center, and the proposed acquisition of rights-of-way and easements for the Lincoln Road widening project, Keystone Drive to Parker Road.
So moved.
All right. Dyak with the motion there, and who seconded it?
Second.
By Wilkes? Okay, motion is made by Dyak, seconded by Wilkes. Barrington?
Yes.
Hendricks?
Yes.
Dyak?
Yes.
Wilkes?
Aye.
Hefta?
Yes.
And we are recessed at 8:20.